Our search for the Pisa side of the family actually started a few years ago when my brother started using Facebook and Google to see if he could locate or find any other Pisas in the world or in Estonia. At the same time, I was researching Estonian history and discovering all the horrific events that occurred there during World War II.
Paul mentioned to me that he found a Matti Pisa on Facebook and befriended him. So I did the same. At this point, we didn't know if he was related to us or not. Soon after, I got an excited message from Paul saying he also found a Tanya Pisa, who in fact happens to share the same name as me. So what were the odds we'd be related? Actually, they were very good. After a few emails, we discovered that we were quite closely related to Andres, Tanya's husband. Our great-grandfather Rudolf and Andres' grandfather Gustav were brothers. This was a huge discovery for us, as we had never met anyone from this side of the family. My grandfather Paul Pisa, who my brother is named after, was conscripted into the Soviet army in World War II, as many men were in Estonia at the time. A secret pact between Stalin and Hitler, called the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, had been devised, where Hitler was to take Western Europe and Stalin to take Eastern Europe. After a year of Soviet occupation from 1940 to 1941, Hitler decided to take Estonia from the Soviets. It was during this time that my grandfather was on a Soviet ship, headed either to the front lines or to Siberia. We can't say for sure. The Germans began to bomb Tallinn harbor. All the men on the ship jumped off to save their lives, but the bomb missed the ship and hit the water instead, killing all that jumped, including my grandfather. The German occupation lasted until 1944, when the Soviets returned. Two of my great-uncles, Onu Rein and Onu Enu, along with my grandmother Lily, decided to escape Estonia. Onu Enu took the engine of a car and made it into a boat motor. I think in total, according to my father, who was only 9 years old at the time, 12 to 15 Estonians managed to escape to Sweden on that same boat. These types of escapes were common in Estonia at the time. My grandmother and great-uncles eventually came to Canada and did their best to create a new life for themselves. They rarely spoke of what happened in their past for obvious reasons, and I know they wished to one day return to Estonia. Being a part of the Estonian community here in Toronto helped to preserve their heritage, and they made sure my brother and I grew up in that community as well. We always wondered about our grandfather, so the discovery of our Pisa relatives was huge for us. I vowed to one day go to Estonia and meet them, and this summer I did. After touring around Estonia for a while, I made my way to Hiiumaa from Haapsalu. A bus and a ferry carried me to my destination and to my newly found family. Andres and Tanya met me at the bus stop, and I think they were as nervous as I was. Our connection was immediate, however, and together we explored the island of Hiiumaa as we got to know each other. Andres took me to several houses in Gardla, where my grandfather lived and grew up. We also visited a newly erected war memorial for the men of Hiiumaa that were killed during World War II. I learned that Andres had also spent years painstakingly putting together a family tree that dates as far back as the 1800s. During my visit, I was surprised to learn I had even more relatives, ones I was even closer related to. Andres took me to Emestay, where my grandmother was born, and we visited a small graveyard where several Mayusis, my grandmother's family, were laid to rest. Yet, I still had one question that had yet to be answered. All my life, I had been asked by others about my last name. Was I part Italian? Was the name shortened? I asked my father, but he couldn't give me an answer.
Mina tõesti ei tea, kuidas me saime liiknemiks isa. Ma tean, et mu ema oli ja onud olid meiusid. Aga kus see pisa tuli, see oli minu isa nimi, aga ma isa ei tea, isa sain surma sõjas. Aga mu tütar läheb otsima seda järele, kus see pisa nimi tuli.
If anyone knew this answer, it would have to be Andres.
Kust tuli pisa nimi? See on niimoodi, et pisa nimi on väga vana Kardla rootslaste nimi. juba 1564 on esimesed kirjalikud ülestähendused nimest Piso. Ja Piso on tähendusega nimi selles mõttes tähendusega, et ta ei ole mitte niisama tulnud tähekombinatsioon. See on vana rootsi keeles Piso, eesti keele tõlkides tähendab torisev vanamees. Grumpy man.
Grumpy old man.
Ja Piso oli siis skandinaavlaste peajumala või äikesejumala seukene paralleelnimi. Selle Thori paralleelnimi, ühesõnaga, et
Thor, Thor, okay, yeah. The god Thor, yeah.
Et pole tohtinud jumalat nimetada, siis öelda Piso torisev vanamees.
I found the birthplace of my grandparents to be such a beautiful and magical place. Hiiumaa, with its enchanting forests and stunning beaches, absolutely captivated me. But still, the eerie feeling of war and destruction was everywhere. At one point, I would be enjoying an amazing view of land and sea, and then I'd turn my head to glimpse an ugly memory of war. I often wondered what my grandparents would have thought. What would have gone through their minds had they been visiting all those places along with me? To see all the changes over time, houses that still stood from when they were young, and houses that were destroyed. My journey to Estonia will stay with me forever. It has been such a blessing and a joy to finally meet and now know my relatives, and to bring all of this back for my family here.
I like to think that my grandparents watched all of this from wherever they are, and I like to think that it brought them as much joy as it brought me.